All right, let's go. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Griff. It's an honor for me to have you here today. How is it going?
It's great, man. The honor is all mine. I've seen I exec for many years. It's super cool to come into. You guys are one of the OGs, so it's super cool to come onto your space here.
Nice. You just did an X space before.
Yeah.
It was about the same topic.
Yeah. We're running this kind of the same topic. So the DAO Security Fund as a topic, absolutely. But this last Twitter space that I was just in was really more focused on the round that is running right now, which is 513 ETH matching pool, which is well over $1 million, almost $1.2 million, I think, of a matching pool that is funding Ethereum security projects. And so we were talking about some of the different projects in the round, and really more focused on the round than the DAO security fund itself.
All right, we're gonna talk about the DAO today, the history and everything around it. But we're gonna wait 1 minute more. People are coming in the audience. Feel free to ask any question during this stream. Don't be shy. It's a really interesting topic. The classic question, Griff. Is there anything in the space currently that surprised you or even scared you?
I mean, the AI stuff is so scary. I mean, I feel like software and how we approach it is completely changing. And now it's like, who has the best LLM? I'm pretty confident you can't write safe code anymore without LLMs, and that's today. Like you can't just as a human all of a sudden like review code without an LLM reviewing it. But at the same time, if AI used wrong will create insecure, like very insecure code. So it's this weird dynamic where you have people on both sides being right about AI solving issues and creating issues. So it's like
Yeah,
I feel like we're just in this I'm really surprised at how it's evolving, and I'm just like scared. I'm scared for software this next 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months. Yeah, everybody is talking about like in a few years, but no, it's now. The way we work, the way we are using AI is it's changing everything. Like, and I think it's a really huge opportunity for a audit firm, security auditor, things like that. But yeah, really scary.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'll all sort itself out. Within 6 months, we're going to have clear pipelines of how this stuff gets done. Hopefully, we'll have stronger public services and like clear solutions that kind of just help everyone, where AI is just supporting all software, kind of like what Mythos and Claude are doing now, where they're like trying to work through bugs and you have to update all your operating systems and browsers every couple days because behind the scenes AI is finding bugs that no one's talking about. So yeah, it's we'll get it sorted, but I'm scared for the next 6 months.
Yeah, let's stay positive and let's talk about an amazing topic. But first, can you introduce yourself and your journey from being a curator in 2016 to launching the DAO Security Fund right now?
Yeah, so I got into crypto in 2013. I'm a crazy anarchist. I actually didn't have a bank account for many years. Was using physical gold and silver, and then discovered Bitcoin. Got super stoked. Got super excited about it. Ended up my first project was the DAO. So I worked for Slockit in the original DAO, and we were hacked. We raised, I mean, it was just an incredible project. We proved the use case of capital formation for Ethereum. We raised $150 million. And in 2016, that was the largest crowdfund ever in any way for any project. And then we were hacked for $50 million. And I went from working at Slockit and building the DAO to leading the crisis management of the DAO hack. Making sure everyone got their money back, dealing with edge cases, dealing with the Ether Classic. When the DAO hack. Yeah, go ahead.
The DAO hack is a crazy story. Like for people who weren't around in 2016 for new Web3 commerce, what was it like being inside the DAO when the hack happened? Like it would be really stressful, no?
Yeah, I mean that the thing is, it was stressful before too. Like when the DAO raised 115 million dollars, everyone was freaking out because
Yeah.
Solidity was 8 months old. Like the programming language we wrote this code in, everything was brand new. So like there were bugs. Everyone knew there were bugs. We didn't know where they were. The bug was even discovered, and there was a lot of, not only is the technical, there's bugs, there's challenges, dude. DAOs, have you seen how DAOs work? Okay, the DAO is like the same. Okay, it was kind of messy. It was like a lot of people arguing about what we should spend money on, what we shouldn't spend money on. Like we actually, the first proposal to the DAO was to spend a bunch of money on security, and we were like, hey, we need like, it would be great to get maybe like $3 million to like hire three full-time security engineers that would like basically 24/7 be like analyzing the problems of the DAO. And then we got feedback like, that was a horrible idea. And everyone's like, you're extracting from the DAO, And then, so then we pared it down to like one security engineer and much less money. And that was kind of getting acceptance. And like, and then of course we get hacked. And that's when the stress levels went from 10 out of 10 to like 50 out of 10. And you didn't have time to sleep or think. It was just like action. How do we need this guy's private keys. We need to talk to these people. Vitalik said we should do a hard fork. That's the way we're going. Okay. Like da 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 da. And so it was just there are so many different teams all doing different things. And I was really coordinating all of it. So there was there was no feelings. It was all just like action.
Oh, good. I've got a pretty cool book. I don't know if you know this one, the Cryptopian. The Cryptopian. Yes. Yeah, I read it, and it's really crazy the story behind everything, because you build a really important brick, a history brick with all you've done. But what for someone who only knows the DAO with the famous Ethereum hack, how would you reframe what the DAO in 2026 is? The DAO is in 2026 now. What did you change?
Okay, so let's go just a little bit back into the DAO security fund, how the DAO security fund started out of the DAO. So when the hard fork happened, it took all the ether out of all the DAO contracts and put them in one contract where DAO token holders could get the money out. The problem was that not only 97% of the ether that was put in that contract was represented by claims for DAO token holders. About 3% of that ether didn't have anyone who could claim it. So one other thing in that withdrawal contract was to send the money to the curator multisig, which I led the team of the curators to actually figure out how do we give money back to the other 3% of people, the other 3% of the ether that doesn't have DAO tokens to claim it. And so we launched other tokens and other withdrawal contracts, and we also did manual withdrawals with exchanges and certain things, people who made mistakes, and all these edge cases, right? And so that 3% of the DAO, about 80% of it was recovered from people who had those edge case claims. And so now we have this 20% of 3%, 0.6% of the DAO. Fast forward to 2025, October of last year, it was worth over $300 million. So that 0.6% of the DAO, which had raised $150 million in back then, was worth twice as much as the money that we had, right? So now the problem with the withdrawal contract was very simple. Just, I think, 10 lines of code, very safe, very secure. The contracts that we wrote that were managed by our multisig, and the multisig was deployed before the DAO even, right? So we're talking, again, Solidity was 5 months old when this multisig was written. we didn't really, I mean, we trusted the code. It had a lot of Lindy, but then, you know, when Balancer got hacked and AI risk came around, you don't trust anything anymore, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, who knows what random library or random weird compiler issue that we didn't know about then gets discovered later. And this is $300 million. When we originally, with the 3% of the DAO, that was $6 million when it was sent to the curator multisig for us to manage. We did it with 6 people who are all volunteers. I could barely get these guys to respond to my DMs anymore. You know, it took about a month to coordinate this whole, even just getting responses from everybody to see what we could do to upgrade our security. And we were talking with SEAL 911, and they were saying, hey, you know, it'd be great because, sorry, when we actually started this edge case funds, we actually thought it would be a temporary thing. And what we said was, hey, if this isn't all settled by 2017, we're going to donate these funds to Ethereum security, right?
Oh, so you said like by 2020, 2026, no, like
2017.
2017, okay, yeah.
Yeah, we said in a blog post, if you guys don't claim this money by 2017, we're just going to donate it all.
Because so why now? Why activate this fund in 2026 specifically and not in 2020 or 2023?
Yeah, so the AI risk, right? Balancer got hacked and we got scared. And so we needed to professionalize our security because $300 million managed by a 3 of 6 multisig with all the keys exposed for 10 years. Who knows if there's a wrench attack coming for us, right? True. Not to mention AI risk on these old contracts. We just didn't have proper security for this much money. You know, we were a very poorly secured bank vault and we needed to fix it. So the way we decided to fix it was to actually continue to keep claims open. Even though we said that we would close them in 2017, it's just too messy. We want to keep the claims open, let people come and claim their funds. You know, we don't consider it that it's not the DAO's money. There's clear claimants for almost all of this funds. So like, come get it, right? And people have been since we launched, so that's good. But while we're waiting, we're staking it. And we're using the revenue from staking to actually properly secure our infrastructure. Okay. And then have a better setup. And then the leftovers, which there's a lot of leftovers, we actually can use to fund Ethereum security writ large. Like we can started the DAO security fund, and as was the original promise, we would use these funds to Ethereum security. Well, in 2026, there's different options for that. Staking didn't exist in 2016, right? And so now we can create effectively an endowment that will fund Ethereum security forever.
Yeah, sounds really good. And regarding the security, you wrote that the goal is make Ethereum so safe that life saving will be better off in a DeFi protocol than in a bank. That's a wild claim because security is one of the biggest criticism of Web3 blockchain. So what does the security bar actually need to look like for that to be true?
The thing is, it's software, and banks are using software too, but Ethereum has an advantage. We can build non-custodial software that is protecting people's money. PayPal has stolen money from me. Like back in the day, I was doing like Bitcoin things, trading Bitcoin, and people would use PayPal, and there's like PayPal gift cards and things like that we would use to trade Bitcoin in 2013, 2014. And PayPal shut down my accounts and I had no way to get the money back. I sold Bitcoin and then I couldn't get the money back from PayPal, even though like it was all kosher and good. They were just like, this is against our policies. We're taking your money, you know? And I think a lot of people have had this experience with PayPal, Venmo, banks, you know, not being able to access your funds when they're really yours. And these are custodial risks that Ethereum doesn't necessarily have to have. So we have the technology to be safer than banks. We're just not prioritizing it. It's all here. I mean, we have smart contracts that can enforce rules without needing the custodian. So we just need to actually execute on it. And I truly believe that, and I know it might feel like a stretch, but when you're in the circles I am, and you see the technology that is existing, if we piece that together, just stuff we already have, we can make, like with Legos, the right solution that's safer than PayPal. There's just no funding for it. And so, this is what we're trying to change.
Cool. Cool. And before deep diving in the DAO premise, the mechanism and evolution, you funded Give It. Yeah, and it's a public good donation. I will let you explain a bit more of what is that. What is the through line? What is the common thread between the DAO and Give It?
Well, actually, for me, it's all the same, right? My mission in crypto in general is to build something better than governments. That's what I'm here for. That's what I got excited about. That's, this was, for me in 2013, this was the majority of people in crypto were excited about that. And so after the DAO and this whole thing didn't go quite right, we started Giveth under this theory that when governments fail to provide value that society demands, people start nonprofits. Nonprofits are actually the free market solution to governments. And so the problem is nonprofits are unprofitable. They don't have like good incentive mechanisms, but nonprofits do create value, right? And so when we started Giveth, we were like, we're going to create DAOs for nonprofits because the idea, these different terms and the way ideas evolve, right? But the high level idea is like nonprofits create value. Blockchain tech can create economies around value production. So maybe we could figure out, and Giveth is effectively a research project, an applied research project that has been attempting to do this for the last decade. How do we take blockchain technology and apply it so that nonprofits can become profitable? Because if we can solve that problem, we wouldn't need governments. We would just have businesses that provide public services. We would have a free market solution to the main value production of governments, which is public goods. It's the roads, right? And I think Bitcoin, Ethereum, all these blockchains have proven that, like anyone in the world, you can be in Antarctica and you can create a Bitcoin address and you can receive money from anyone else in the world for free, completely accessible to anyone. This is like the roads for money, And Bitcoin didn't do it with taxes. They didn't do it with donations. They did it with economics, supply and demand.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. I think it's a really noble mindset. And if I will make the devil advocate, like, do we need to do some trade-off, like with the compliance and things like that, with state and regulators to trigger a mass adoption and then enable people around the world to access to a permissionless and bank stuff, money, etc.
I mean, I think technology in the end outpaces regulatory and compliance enforcement and all these things. Did we need to have the government come in and tell us that we should use cell phones instead of corded telephones? Or did we need the government to come in and tell us that we needed, to up level our game to these cars versus those cars? Or, we need cars and not horse and buggies. I don't think the government did any of that. Technological advancement and for the idea of governments is great and noble. Democracies are fantastic, major level up, right? But we can do better. And and we're not going to have the government help us do better because they have power in the current system. So I think when governments get involved in this stuff, things get usually worse. I mean, you can see what's happening with the whole kelp DAO layer 0 stuff, right? Lawyers start sending in letters, and then everyone gets scared, and da da da. Dude, DeFi United is going to do a way better job at distributing funds and recovering from this thing than if all that money went to the government to figure out how to do the recovery. You think that would go as well? I can tell you, as leader of the White Hat Group, we rescued hundreds of millions of dollars. We supported lots of ICOs. Every time a government or lawyers got involved, the process got worse and slowed down. When we rescued $210 million from the Parity multisig hack, right? There was basically a bug in a multisig contract in 2017 that allowed us to come in and take the money out of multisig. So we went through and we hacked like, I don't know, 300 multisigs, something like that, 200 to 400 multisigs. Whoa. And took all the money out of them. And it took us a week to get all the money back. And it was all done. There was no lawyers. There was no governments. People, we were afraid that we might get robbed by someone. We were afraid that governments might sue us. We were afraid, like the legal stuff was only causing problems, you know? And I think in general, I mean, I'm a crazy anarchist. So like, hey, take it with a grain of salt. But I don't really think I think the goal of us using this tech should be to do it without governments and avoid them at all costs.
Yeah, we definitely need more people like you in the ecosystem, definitely. And we talked about non-profit, like there is 220 million at stake currently, I think. So it will generate some yield. How do you ensure, because this yield is the purpose of this yield is to fund some diverse contributor to improve the security. How do you ensure that the funding reach a diverse set of contributor beyond the usual players like audit firm, big one?
Yeah, I mean, that's so I'm a member of a multisig. We're a 7-person multisig now that is taking over for the 3 of 6 multisig, and we have a nice, you know, security concept where it's actually the old multisig and the new multisig are both securing the things. So you know, we have, anyway, it doesn't matter. The main thing is there's seven people in the DAO Security Fund that are kind of guiding the use of these funds. It's Vitalik, me, PC from Seal 911, Taylor Monahan, Jordi Bellina, Alex Van de Sande, and Lansky from DAppNode. So these are like security experts, basically. I mean, probably 4 of them would be on the top 10 security experts on anybody's list. And we all know that security is not just smart contract audits. In fact, that's probably where we have the best security. And if you look at all the hacks recently, it's mostly OPSEC related, some kind of governance mechanism where some multi-sig gets taken over or people get tricked one way or another to sign transactions or give up their keys or someone gets access to like the kelp DAO exploit, someone got access to RPC nodes that could trick a validator. So yeah, these different, there's so many ways to hack contracts beyond smart contracts. And for me, what we're doing now, there's 134 projects in this current QF round, our first big round. Right. The DAO Security Fund put 500 ETH in a matching pool, and that's being distributed to projects based off of who donates how much money. So quadratic funding is a really cool mechanism because it takes into account not only how much money does each project raise, but also by how many people. And so those two variables go into the distribution of this $1 million.
But you've got quadratic funding, retroactive one, and RFP round choice. It's you are using mainly the quadratic one?
Well, so right now we're going to do rounds approximately quarterly. We have to let it depends on the price of Ether because our stake and rewards are in Ether and we want these rounds to be impactful. But we're aiming for quarterly rounds. The first one is this quadratic funding round. But in every round, our goal is to make sure that there are more than 200 people making these decisions. so that we're going to distribute these funds in a DAO style. It's not me and the other 6 curators deciding who gets the money. Me and the other 6 curators, we decide the scope of the round and what DAO tooling provider we're going to use to distribute the funds.
Yeah.
So by scope, I'll mean like the focus, like this first one, this QF round that's running right now at qf.giveth.io. It is a broadly focused round. So anyone can donate to basically any security project that had provided public benefit in the past. So there's like proof that they will continue to do it in the future, and is focused on security, not just like they do a little bit of security, but the project is broader than that. So those are the 2 main disqualifying factors for projects. We got all those projects in, and now thousands of people get to decide how our funding is funding them, right?
Cool.
And then in the future, we'll do a different kind of round. I'm really excited for RFP rounds, which you mentioned, where instead of giving lots of projects a little money, which is what QF is doing, and we're doing that strategically to start to try to like build viral awareness of what we're trying to do. In next rounds are likely to be more focused on like, hey, what ideas should get funding? And so we have like these different RFPs, and the community can vote on the RFPs. And then based off of which ideas need get funding, then we'll do a more classic round of like, okay, here's the RFP. We have $1 million to fund this post-quantum security effort. We need a team that can do XYZ. The Ethereum Foundation can help us find the team and get them funding and to execute on the program. We're going to do a variety of things, but the main focus is DAO style. We're always going to use a DAO tool. It's always going to be at least 200 people making these decisions. And we have this really cool, one quick tangent to this. We started this thing called ETH security badges. And with ETH security badges, we were able to collect 200 of the top security experts in the Ethereum space, all in one place. They all are coordinating in a chat room. How do we work this? What do we do with the DAO funds? How do we do this? And like in this QF round, for instance, every $1 that they donate is worth $4 from a normal person for distributing the funds. In future rounds, they will have other, like maybe they'll be the only ones who vote. Maybe it'll be them plus another expert set. Maybe it'll be them plus the community. It just depends on what DAO tooling we're using, what the scope of the round is, that sort of thing. But like we have these 200 security experts to help us because this is pretty technical stuff.
It's unique.
Yeah,
it's totally unique. Like you are the security core of Ethereum. If you want to share your screen to showcase some stuff, feel free. You are totally free to share the project. And while you are sharing your screen, I've got a question, because I'm in the ecosystem since 2019. I'm not OG like you. I know that honestly, all the non-profit companies should work in this way with the DAO. But have you received any criticism for this initiative and the way you are managing the fund, like curator centralization or conflict of interest?
I mean, people talk shit on Twitter, right? Like they're always going to talk shit. Like that's welcome to crypto Twitter. I mean, and welcome to Twitter. Welcome to X. Sorry, welcome to X. Like, and everyone's going to talk shit about anything they do. For the most part, the reception has been amazing because we're keeping claims open. We're not taking the funds. In fact, to run this round, we actually had to go get a loan to run this round.
Already
because we hadn't built up enough rewards yet. So we went out and got a loan. Gnosis loaned us a bunch of ETH so we could start this initiative sooner. And we're a very reliable person to fund because it's me, Vitalik, and like Jordy and Taylor, all the biggest names in security. So of course we're going to pay it back. And we have clear revenue coming from staking. So it's an easy loan to give. But that's the thing. We're going the extra mile to be extremely careful with our integrity and make sure that this is like something that no one can really argue with. And yeah, I think it shows because really very few people are unhappy with this initiative. No one's talking shit. I mean, there's only two reasons people are not liking this project. It's because, one, you don't like Ethereum in general. You're like, you have your other chain or whatever. And number two, you're looking for attention.
Yeah,
You're trying to, like, be controversial.
you are jealous. There is a lot of jealous people.
Yeah, and that's it. Anyone who's really talking about it is like, this is amazing. I can't believe we just found secret money to make Ethereum safer for the world. Like, this is just, that's great.
Yeah.
So, like,
and talking about, like, I would like to get a few information about the stacking design. You are working with DAppNode. It's a multi-client, 6 continents distributed.
Yep.
How did you decide to set this complex architecture over a classic Lido or a centralized operator?
Well, number one, I mean, I'll be honest, I founded DAppNode, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so me and Jordy founded DAppNode in 2017. Jordy and I also founded Giveth in 2016. We started a lot of interesting projects, and so having them close and knowing what they can do and knowing what is possible is, like, the trust was really critical with all of this. And also, Lido charges 10%, whereas DAppNode's only charging 5%. So, it's half the. It's just more capital efficient to work with our own internal team and do solo staking than work with Lido, and especially when we have DAppNode sitting right there. Also, DAppNode is providing a lot of value to the ecosystem to make Ethereum more secure. So it just makes sense to work with them, or work with us. I don't know. It's so weird because I wear so many hats, right? But it just makes sense to also support their ongoing continuation of making it easy for solo stakers to join Ethereum and make Ethereum more secure in that way. Also, we had very specific requirements that we wanted to uphold with staking that we knew we could do with DAppNode, and it would take some compromises potentially to work with other people. Specifically, we want to do non-censoring clients. We want to do, like, decentralized on every continent, and we want our staking itself to be helping Ethereum security. So
and talking about the security, like the 4 pillars are wallet UX, smart contract, incident response, and core protocol. It's a very different world with different talent pool. Will rounds be siloed by category, or do they compete for the same pool?
So in this current round, everyone's competing for the same pool. All the categories are involved, education, formal verification. There's like, it's everything that you can imagine that is making Ethereum safer. There's so many good projects in the round, but in future rounds, it's going to be scoped, and it'll probably be scoped even more than those 7 categories. It's likely to be scoped, like, imagine agentic security or post-quantum security, or OPSEC, operational security. How do we make it so that, one of the biggest things that I think it's crypto's original sin, and I will say it time and time again, hot wallets. Like, having keys on your daily driver computer, that has incentivized thousands and thousands, maybe millions of hackers to build malware, to start scam compounds, just to try to get your keys off of your computer, because they make so much money off of it. And so, like, how do we prevent that from happening? How do we get users to start using other things? Like you said, it's sort of like wallet UX, but it might just be targeted at how do we reduce hot wallets, like that's a pet project of mine that I really would like to see.
Yeah. So, in your opinion, what should we prioritize for the next step? Like, what is the most critical security problem currently you would like to solve first?
I mean, can we just somehow stop North Korea from hacking us all? I think that was probably, the biggest issue right now, is that, and it's because it's beyond a crypto issue. It's a global issue. Funding North Korea's nuclear program is not something that I think is good for the world. And especially when they're doing it by nuking all of our portfolios. You know, it's like it's kind of just it's tragic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the hot wallets are a top priority, and in general, individual security I think is under prioritized by our space. So like giving people the tools to hold their crypto safely by default with like better UX than what MetaMask and Rabby can provide, right? That to me, that's probably a top priority. But there's so many, you know. There's a lot of things that we could do to make our infrastructure more robust behind the scenes.
True. Yeah, and there is the security, but there is a privacy, and I would like to discuss the privacy angle since iExec is working in the privacy ecosystem since 2017, and we are providing tools for builders, enable them to build some privacy dApps, DeFi, RWA. What do you think? What is the place of privacy in your DAO? Because if there's some confidential proposal when a researcher requests funding for an undisclosed exploit class, do you really want the proposal and the votes fully doxed on chain forever? Even the same for confidential voting. Could private but verifiable voting actually unlock more honest ground decision, especially when curators have to vote on people they personally know? Well, I would like to have your opinion about privacy in this system you build.
So yeah, I mean, I think there's a few levels here. Number one, like privacy and security are different niches. So like while they are closely related, the DAO Security Fund is, I had to reject a lot of great privacy projects that wanted to be in this round. And they were fantastic. There are so many great privacy projects that need to be funded, and privacy is something that's really important to me. I'm happy to say I'm a Tornado Cash user and Tornado Cash supporter, and all privacy tools. I almost even started running ZK Bob. I didn't have the resources to really do it, but that itself is sort of like a Tornado Cash thing. So I love privacy, but that is not in the scope of the DAO Security Fund, and I think there's a fine line there. However, we are actually, I vibe coded an app. I've never shown it off, but I could put it on the screen, how we're using privacy ourselves. So we actually, all the ETH security badge holders, they get an NFT in a public address. And so this is great because they get to show off the fact that they have, like if they want to do a white hat response and someone sees that the address that did that white hat action has one of these badges, they're like, okay, this is all good, right? Really clear communication. However, like you said, if people are donating to projects in the round, there's like all this extra political stuff that they have to deal with. And so what we're doing are a few things. Number one, everyone who gets a ETH security badge to the 200 badge holders, they also get a private badge. So they can come to this app and they can actually connect their wallet. I don't really have a wallet on this computer. So, that's, but I'll see if I can get this. Oh, you know what? I'll go to the offline mode because I'm a good guy and I do what I say what I preach. I do not have keys on the computer that I do video calls on, right? Because you're probably North Korea. I just have to assume.
But it's a really good practice. In the audience, it's a pretty good tips, like a lot of key leaks during stream.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people lose their keys to these video calls. So, but basically they can put in their, this is the offline mode so that they can also run this on a computer that's offline if they're using cold storage tools. But so they'll put in their address and prove that they have a voting badge, and then they'll put in a secret address. This secret address, as you can see, this even works offline, is then signed with a key that only I can decrypt. And we're using post-quantum encryption tools as well, like an encryption algo that, because once quantum comes in, then you'll just be able to decrypt everything on chain. So all the private stuff on chain now that's using old encryption tooling is going to get decrypted. You're going to be able to see who people voted for. So now we're using a post-quantum encryption to actually, for people to submit what their secret address is. And then I am the only person, and I keep it on a spreadsheet on like my other computer here that doesn't touch the internet very often. And that in that computer, I have the mapping myself, mostly so that I can do the bureaucratic things of telling badge holders, hey, you haven't voted yet. And hey, like, you need to do this, you need to do that. And, there's just a lot of cat herding that needs to happen. Also, like if there are like conflicts of interest or anything weird in future votes, then I can apply these things. But at least they won't be subject to the political politicization of the blob scam guys, or
we lost.
I'm still here. You hear me?
Yeah, you froze a few seconds. You are back.
Oh, yeah. So maybe like for instance, I love Sam and I love assertions.eth, but assertions.eth is kind of new, so maybe I don't want to donate to it. I will donate to it because I have used this tool, for instance, but like and I used it for very important things. But it's like I know Sam, and he will never know if I donated to it or not, and that's actually really valuable, So yeah,
true. And in DAO there is autonomous, and I wish you all the best for the future, and we're going to talk about the future. But if some of the curator got some trouble, or if there is a problem and the DAO have to stop or disappear, can it be fully autonomous? Like, do the people can take the lead and continue the work you start and make it like forever?
I mean, I think so. Just like any other multi-sig, though, the DAO security fund is not really a full-on DAO like that. We're not, and I'm not sure that those DAOs are really as great as they sound. They haven't really worked out in general. I think Arbitrum is probably the most high-profile and best DAO out there. But it's a lot of work, and sometimes the juice is not worth the squeeze. The DAO security fund is is managed by a multi-sig of 7 people, and our fund distribution is guided by DAO governance with a new DAO set up every quarter for every round. So it's not really a DAO. It's not the intention to be a DAO. We want to support the security space. Our first priority is making sure people can still claim the funds that we are stewarding. Our second priority, and the most active priority, is funding security and trying to get Ethereum to be safer than the banks. And our 3 priority is to support the DAO ecosystem, but it's not to be a DAO.
It's DAO style, like you said. And it's even better. So let's look ahead in the future and talk about the next step. Like you launched some funding round. What is your roadmap? What does this DAO looks like in, I don't know, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year?
Well, I think funding is like the obvious place that makes us relevant, because we have this amazing funding stream to support Ethereum security. But I see us more as community leaders and coordinators. At least that's like a really good role for me. Effectively, I'm the main guy behind this whole project, right? So, what are my skills? My skills, I'm a good coordinator. I'm a community manager at heart, and I'm hoping to manage and coordinate the Ethereum ecosystem to effectively make Ethereum as a whole stronger and safer, so that projects can save money. Like 3 years from now, my goal is that we as an ecosystem are spending less money on security and are more secure. So,
and we need that.
Yeah, what that looks like is, instead of imagine a circle with lots of little circles in it. And all the little circles inside of that big circle, those are projects, protocols, dApps, and each one of them is focused on making their circle really strong, really bold, right? And no one, only the Ethereum Foundation, Seal, maybe a few other, or DeFi United, no, in some ways, you know, like different groups are like trying to make the Ethereum circle thick, but it's still pretty thin, you know, and the security of Ethereum at large is not nearly as great as all the security of little projects. And 3 years from now, I want there to be a giant bold line around that circle. I want the security of Ethereum to be thick so that all the little projects don't need to build such thick circles, you know?
Yeah.
And if you look at the geometry of what that looks like, it's a lot cheaper to make Ethereum secure. Like the economics of scale for security are so ridiculous compared to all these little circles. The perimeter of all those little circles adds up to a lot of security, you know? Yeah. So my goal is to coordinate the industry leaders to fund these like large security projects that have large scopes, to work with the security engineers to figure out what the most important issues of our day are, where we can make the most impact with the least funds, and also with the community to really get their input and get their support in making everything safer. So and you know, there's great, like the Ethereum Foundation, they have the $1 trillion security project, just incredible research, incredible execution. They're spending millions of dollars, more money than we are.
But you are a part. It was my next question. What is the link with the Ethereum Foundation? Because regarding what you are doing right now and the Ethereum Foundation roadmap, it sounds like you are an important bricks of this roadmap.
I mean, I think anyone who's focused on some kind of Ethereum issue in a broad scope should be, of course, coordinating with the Ethereum Foundation. But we have no direct lines other than Vitalik is on our multi-sig, and I coordinate with them because that would just be the smart thing to do. There is no direct relationship between the Ethereum Foundation and the DAO Security Fund. Now, we have asked for their support on doing eligibility criteria for each funding round that we're doing. And that's the only like official link, like because they're just better at that. Then we don't have like a lot of internal service tools around that. So like, you know, being able to work with them, work with Round Operator, work with the Ethereum Foundation, Round Operators, and Giveth does all the operations for the DAO Security Fund. So with those three minds together, the eligibility criteria can be really strong. And in my experience, that's probably the most important part of any funding round, especially a DAO style round. If you make sure that all the projects that are receiving funding deserve it, then however the funding distribution works out, it's okay, right? But if you let in a bunch of projects that aren't very good, or you exclude a lot of projects that actually are really great, then, you know, the funding round isn't going to have very much impact. It's not going to, it loses its credibility in many ways. So, you know, that the eligibility criteria before the round starts, that's the secret sauce to make this thing successful. And honestly, the round we have now is a perfect example of fantastic execution on eligibility criteria.
Yeah, you built something truly amazing. I love that. But beyond Ethereum, does this model can export to other ecosystems? Because the security challenge we need to tackle, it's not only on Ethereum, it's on Solana and everywhere.
Yeah, so, I mean, I agree to some extent, but also you have to have strong boundaries. I'm a student of Elinor Ostrom. Elinor Ostrom is incredible, like Nobel winning, the first woman to ever win a Nobel Prize in economics. And she has this like, you know, top 8 ways to create a commons, you know, if I turned her into a social media influencer, right? Like it's like this 8-point list of how to create a successful community that coordinates effectively to overcome the tragedy of the commons. She literally won a Nobel Prize in economics for disproving the tragedy of the commons and how to do it. So who better to look to for how to do it? And the first point is strong boundaries. You have to draw your boundaries somewhere. If I say it's all of crypto and I have to work with all the Bitcoiners and all the Solana people and all these groups that all kind of hate each other, like Dude, I won't get anywhere. Like, I mean, and I love to do that. I would love to do that. But honest, let's be real. I'm an Ethereum guy. I did the DAO. I know all these Ethereum people. This is just the right boundary layer for me to draw. And
Yeah.
there's a huge ecosystem here. And I'm confident that our work will absolutely export to all these other ecosystems. But if we draw our boundaries, like there was actually a project who was a great security project, but they were mostly focused in the Binance like BSC, like Binance chain, right? And we excluded them from the round because part of the eligibility is you have to be Ethereum focused. And
yeah, that makes sense. That makes totally sense. And in the audience, if we've got some security researchers, some amazing project who want to apply, what will be the step to follow to join the DAO or trying to be eligible to grants or even be part of the DAO itself and helps in a way they can?
so, I mean, first follow at the DAO Fund on Twitter, and there is a yes, exactly. Follow, click notifications so you can see what we're doing. This will be this is the main source of communications for everyone for everything that we're doing. We also have a paragraph and a website and all these other things. But like if you just follow this, it'll all work out for you. Right now is the QF round. Yeah, and this is our website, and so you can see at the top we have some. Yeah, you can see the tabs at the top. It says these security badges. So these things are already. You can't necessarily directly. You can apply, and we will probably eventually open things up for more people to be badge holders. But for now, we have our 200, and that's what we're sticking with. Now you're at the other thing, our funding rounds.
Yeah.
This current funding round is not accepting applications anymore. There's only 9 days left of the round. So we have to close. We closed applications last week to join. And so these are all the projects that will be in the round. I'm also going to tweet today a CSV file. So if you wanted to, or a spreadsheet with all the project data. So if you want to throw it into an LLM and talk to the LLM about which projects are the most interesting to you, that could be a great way to search these things. But yeah, you can see all the projects here. And really, the best way to get involved right now, even if you have no money, just go through all of these projects. I promise you, every single one is an incredible resource making Ethereum more secure. I'm so impressed with the value of the project. I actually did a 6-hour live stream with a member of the Ethereum Foundation, Jason, and we went through every single project and did like a 2 to 3 minute like overview of why each project is awesome. And I mean, it was 6.5 hours. So like there's a lot, and every project was incredible.
So if you want to donate, yeah, in the audience, if you want to donate, if you can donate, like feel free to join. You can find everything on the X account of the DAO Fund, and make sure to follow and trigger the notification. That's really important. You are building the security, the future of Ethereum security, and that's amazing. We are about to wrap this amazing live stream. Like, is there anything you want to add for the to the audience? If you want to drop some alpha, we love some alpha. If you want get some big news.
I think there's an underappreciated way to support projects in this round. Besides donating, you can also boost projects. And so with like Giveth is a DAO. We have our own token, and one of the ways that Give token holders can express their voting power is by hitting that little rocket ship. So if you go down to the rocket ship in the upper right corner of any project, you can actually boost the project. Like the reason Rex, Blobscan, and LFG Labs are at the top is because the Give token holders have boosted them. And so if you have Give tokens, you can change the order. And for 134 projects, this is very underutilized. Like I would say if you go down like 2 things, about half the projects are not using this feature at all. if they just got $5 worth of give tokens and boosted their project, they would be like halfway up the list. So that's probably the biggest thing that I could only recommend to every project, is just like, it's such cheap marketing to just add yourself up on the list. Other alpha, you know, I think that we're in a really interesting spot where there is a lot of opportunity for AI to improve things. And I see like what Austin Griffith is doing with his AI tooling and ETH skills. It's like, learn how to use AI to do the stuff that you like to do in Ethereum, because, you know, it's risky now. It won't be risky forever. And if you write it off, you're going to miss out on a lot of cool things. I mean, I am not a developer, and I made this voting badge thing on a less than like one day on a weekend. I just, like, while doing other things, was just prompting and vibe coding a really cool app that the top 200 security researchers in the space are using. You know, I mean, it's incredible.
Amazing. Yeah,
it's
that's
incredible.
Really incredible. There is some really positive things you can build with AI, and we need to handle this technology and do some good stuff with. And it's exactly what you are doing. And thank you for that, and for what you are doing. Like, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to sponsor the round, also the matching pool is actually growing because people are donating to the pool. So it started out 500. It's 513 now, and in about 3 minutes, someone's going to donate 25 ether to it. So it's going to be 537, 538 ether. And so if you and we're doing lots of co-marketing campaigns. So if anyone wants to support the round, I've seen the incredible power of DeFi United and how, like, we as a community came together after a hack to support the victims. But what if we prevented the victims from even happening? You know, if we saw 1/100th of the money that came into DeFi United come into this round, I'll tell you, we will have a lot fewer hacks 6 months from now than we will otherwise. So, you know, if we can fund Ethereum security projects before the hacks happen, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Let's skip the disease altogether. Let's secure Ethereum before the hackers come at us. And the way to do it is to donate in this round. And if any companies want to put down major money, we can speed run it. We can coordinate awesome marketing events, and I would love to see projects. So if you work for a project, you know, reach out to your guys, and even just for like five to, you know, some projects are doing 50K. A few projects have been doing 7K. We're coordinating with them and making their donation not only count for the round, for the public goods, but also for marketing. So yeah.
Really nice. Thanks a lot, Griff, for your time. It was a truly amazing and really insightful stream with you. And in the audience, really follow the DAO on X. If you can donate, let's go and make the security, the Ethereum security, bigger and stronger than ever.
Yeah, and your own, because if you see these projects, you can use them, and you will be safer. Even if you don't donate, just go look at these projects and apply them, because they're amazing.
Right. Thanks again, Griff. Take care, and hopefully see you really soon.
Yep. Thanks, Martin.